I'll tell you one thing that we have really needed in our field, and that is a set of mouth shapes or mouth cues that are accurate and that match how we actually make the sounds. So what I'm going to go through today is I'm going to show you these new articulation mouth cue cards, and I'm going to highlight features that you might not have thought about and that you might not be aware about, but they are actually critical in what we think is important when you are cueing and trying to listen and teach some speech sounds. As you can see, I have all the different cards out here and they're broken up into different manners of articulation. And I'm going to start with the fricatives first because I think a lot of speech pathologists teach fricatives. Now, the first thing you're going to notice in these cards is we have the letter up the top here and it's lowercase because that can help kids. And then over here we have the transcription, the phonetic symbol there. And this is across all cards. Now, a key feature of all of these cards is this airstream. I'm going to show you the difference between F and V. So you'll see here with F, and you'll notice that this airstream is so intentional. When you say the air does come out quite straight and it is a little bit blowy, and that's what these lines represent. And we contrast voiced and voiceless lines with this little buzziness here to really show that. Another thing I really want you to look at and just highlight is how accurate these cues are. When we say F, we're not going, we're not putting our teeth over our lip. It really is just a tiny little bit. So the high accuracy is one of the things I'm most proud of with these decks. I'll go through and show you all of them. So with S, one of our key features here are these elevated lips. We really want that little retraction there and this straight airstream. Now, if your child produces S laterally, what you can do is you can actually draw their airstream on the card and you can show them what they're doing and what we really want them to do. And that contrasts with Z. You can see those different lines there again. We have sh and zh, and again, just notice the airflow. The lip shapes are super important, especially for SH, and I want to contrast that super quickly with our Affricates. Ch. I've seen a lot of cards where they will do the same lip shape for all of them, and they're not the same. Sh is a lot softer, our lips aren't as round, but when we do ch, there's a lot of force there, and you can see that demonstrated by these long, forceful lines versus this more soft, windier, blowy air. So I just really wanted to point those out to you. The other cards that we have for H, and then we have our voiced and voiceless TH cards there, again with the buzziness. And notice the tongue. We're not sticking our tongue all the way out like you might have seen in other cards. That's not how we say TH. So I just show you those there. The next ones I'll go through are our plosives, and again the airflow or the airstream was really important when we made these cards, and a good way for me to demonstrate this for you, we've got P and B here, is if you put your hand in front of your mouth, if you say P, B, you're going to feel that there is larger air that's more aspirated. You're going to feel it more in your palm than when you say B. So that's one of our rationales. And just again, notice that the lip is pursing. It really shows, that we have to push our lips together and it helps you. These pictures and the shading that we've included are really going to help you to cue those specific elements that your child needs to be successful. Again, I'm going to show you the differences between these voiced and voiceless. We have our T and D, and I love this tongue shading here. And then for K and G sounds, we have those two there. This is probably a good time to show you, or just to let you know, that in this series we have 4 different lip shades, and that was really important because not everyone has bright red lips or bright pink lips. I don't know if you've seen other clip art or other cues. For me, lip shape, lip color It's important. And I really, when we put this deck together, we really wanted kids and SLPs and the support people that are helping the children to feel like these mouths represent them. So I'm going to just show you the 4 different colours we have. We've got a little bit of a softer pink tone. We have some nice caramel undertones with this card here. We have some darker browns and some lighter pinky tones on this one, and this has a little bit more of the that reddish and cool undertones there. So I just thought I'd let you know that in this set you can print all cards in one colour, or you can have a mixed set of cues featuring all of these different colour shades that we have there. For our nasals, we have and that's our NG. We didn't include airflow on here, but there is the option for you as an SLP to include something about a nasal airflow. But when we tried, it just didn't look quite right. So that's an option for you as the SLP to individualize these cues. If you need to individualize and point out the airflow, we'd recommend doing something above the lip if you need it. The last set that we have are our liquids and glides. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick them on these craft sticks. Now I've just put some sticky tack on there, but I would also use sticky tape because this is actually how I would cue it. I find it so easy to hold this up next to your mouth or to hold it in front of the child so that they can see versus holding the card up like that or pointing like that. So I just really wanted to show you this option. But here we have our all sound, and I want you again to notice the shading of the tongue and how accurate it is. And think about other L cards that you've seen. I'm sure you've seen it where it's got a really, really long tongue sticking up. That's not how we say L, so that's a really nice one there. We have our bunched R here, but also in the deck we've got a retroflex R if you need that cue. And then the other two we have, these are our glides here. Ooh. And this is yeah. Something that I really like to do is I like to hold up, if the child, for example, is gliding and they're using this round lip, I would actually hold these up and I would point out the difference. And this can be used for a lot of common patterns. So if the child is fronting, I might hold up the k and the t as an additional cue, just to really cue that tongue position. So I just thought I'd let you know that these tongue depressors are super helpful for you if you really want to be able to hold the cue or have the child hold the cue and just highlight those little mouth shapes. So I hope you've liked this walkthrough of all the cues and you kind of understand why we've got different airstream features, why we've got different lip shades, and why we've included the elements that we have. And I really hope that this is one of those decks that you use time and time again for your students, just to help them with eliciting sounds, helping them with cueing. And remember, we always have black and white versions in our resources, so you can draw on and you can colour things to highlight and to help your students master their articulation sounds.